Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Um, I want to talk today about something that happened to me 10 years ago. A friend of mine, he, uh, he was a young Christian, started going to our church. Um, it was a Tuesday evening service, and he came in, he was all excited, bouncing up and down, and he was telling me that he had gone to Gettysburg battlefield, and him and a couple of his friends, and they saw some things that he wanted to show me on this video camera that he had with him. And so I told him before he showed me, I said, Tony, you shouldn't be doing those things. I said, were you scared? And he said, yeah, I was terrified. I said, okay. I said, that's not something you want to be, because fear is not of God. So who is it of? I said to him. And he understood, but again, he continued on with his excitement. He just wanted to show me this video that he had. And so I just reiterated to him that I'll watch the video, but understand that the fear is of the devil, and you shouldn't partake in it if that's something you're trying to seek intentionally. So he proceeded to show me the video, and sure enough, what he showed me was he was pointing the video camera out into the darkness, and you could clearly see, I mean, clear as day, you could see these green orbs go by the camera. He actually followed it um, on the camera, and I saw it with my own eyes. I mean, there was, that was probably 10 years ago. When was this? 10 years ago? Let me think. No, this was probably even further than that. This was probably 15 years ago when this happened. So there was no video editing and all that jazz, and nor would he do that anyway. So what happened is I told him, don't ever do that again. I said, that's something you don't want to delve into. You don't want to have fear and expose yourself and open yourself up. And so a week goes by, or maybe it was even 2 weeks go by. I get a phone call. Phone calls from his sister, and his sister, which never calls me, she would have no reason to call me. I'm not even sure how she got my number, to tell you the truth. But anyway, she ended up calling me and saying, "Hey, could you go over and see Tony? He's acting really strange. He was down in Myrtle Beach, and he ended up leaving about 4 days early to come home, and he's acting just extremely strange, like something's really wrong with him." So I said, sure. He was only probably 20 minutes down the road from me. So I stopped down at the house. I walked, knocked on the door, no answer. I walked in, and the door was open, and he was sitting in the middle of his living room with just this look on his face of, this look of just not there, like he's spaced out. So I walked up to him and I started trying to talk to him, and there was no response. And this went on for, gosh, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. And finally, he started mumbling something, and he's pointing out the window, and I'm like, what is it? And he's like, they're coming to get me. And I'm like, who is coming to get you? And he wouldn't tell me, and he wouldn't tell me. And this conversation just kept going. He was paranoid, just completely paranoid. So I thought maybe it was some drugs involved in something and such. So I mean, not that he really did drugs, but I just thought maybe something was going on, um, that was other than what I'm about to tell you. So he acted this way for probably an hour. I finally said, Tony, come with me. Let's get out of the house. So I got him to stand up. Just this stare look on his face is blank, and he just followed me out and got in the car, and we went and parked for a little bit, and we started talking. An hour or two went by, nothing. I can't get anything out of this guy. I mean, he is just not with it. Something is wrong. Um, at that time, early on in my walk too, this was even before my other deliverance that I had in my previous videos and all those things. So I was really new in the Lord, and so these things were unfamiliar to me. So I knew something was spiritually not right, though. I had a feeling it wasn't anything other than that. So I ended up calling my wife and having her meet me at the hospital in the city. And she met me there, and we admitted him into the mental ward because he was acting funny. His mom was sick, so she couldn't help, and everybody, all his friends were down in Myrtle Beach, and so I got a hold of his sister, and we sat there. And as my wife and I were sitting there in this room, just waiting for admission or doctors or something to come in, we were in this room alone. He's not saying anything, and he turns to my wife, in a voice that is not his, in this something you'd see out of a movie, like almost it was deep. It was a very deep voice. I mean, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, the type of deep voice, like, and I don't want to imitate it because I don't want to have any, I don't want to do that, but it was just a really deep, dark voice that came out of his mouth and looked straight at my wife, as serious as could be, and said, and asked her this question and said, "Are you afraid?" And my wife quickly responded back and said, "No, I'm not afraid." Well, I'm sitting there, and I got to be honest with you. I'm not going to kid you. It struck fear into me somewhat, the way he acted, because it was so out of the normal, and it was so out of nowhere. It came out of left field, and then of course his voice wasn't his, and the look in his face, and it was just, I kind of caught the whole thing as this, as watching this happen, and it really shook me up. So later on, he ended up staying in that facility for a while, and he finally got released, and I hadn't seen him for a long time. I eventually caught up to him. I think, well, we met up at a restaurant at one point, and I was sit down and met his new wife, and this was years later. I mean, it was probably almost 10 years later, probably, after that event, and I don't know the condition of him at that point. I hadn't kept with him, but I just wanted to share that with you, more so you could understand, at least this, that fear is not something you should expose yourself to. I could give you scripture after scripture of this, but I'm sure anybody watching this, knows those scriptures well, and um, I'm just here to tell you that fear is not something you should put yourself in front of. Scary movies, thrillers and stuff like that. I haven't done that for a long, long time. I mean, prior to even this story, this thing that happened back then, I guess that was kind of the beginning of the very beginning of my testimonies would be from this event, because from this point on, things got crazy. I do want to start moving away from them, because I want to get to some other things. I told you that I want to start talking about, you know, controlling our emotions and looking and analyzing our emotions, in regards to where we are in time with revelation and prophecy. And also, there's a lot of people out there, including myself. I've been through a tremendous amount of pain and suffering through my sanctification process that, of course, I'm still going through. Who isn't, with God that seeks Him? So um, it can be severe. I mean, it can be severe to the point where you need your brothers and sisters around you and to call. I mean, I got a friend, George. He's a great, great man. He was one that was involved in my first in that first video I made, my deliverance. And I mean, George, heard those conversations and those moments of breakdown, and for me, and he was there for me through tough times. And so I guess I just, if nothing else, just want to be able to share with you all that when it's tough, man, I know it's tough. It can be really, really hard. I mean, so hard that, and I'll just say it because I've never really spoken much of it. So hard that you wonder how you're going to get, not through just the day, but through the moment where it feels like it's just, even though you know God and you know where you're going and you know all that, I mean, you have the confidence in that, but sometimes your confidence does get waved, shaken, and you start to feel like, what am I doing here? I mean, what am I looking forward to, and what am I going to do tomorrow, and how is this going to end? And it's almost like, and again, I don't want to be overly critical and negative, because God is so good to us, and we have so much, and we're so blessed, and I don't want to be unappreciative to God, and because I really am, and I thank Him all the time, constantly, for everything. We take so much for granted, but I just, there are times where we hit low points, and they're so bad that I mean, I've hit low points so bad. I want it to end so much, because I can't. It's hard to be not of this world, but yet live in this world. We're 100% living here. We have to exist here 100% physically and mentally. We have to do our jobs, to take care of our families, take care of ourselves. There's so much going on, and yet we're not supposed to be part of it. As far as so it's I personally am struggling between that fine line of being here and but yet not being here. So I'm sure many of you understand what I'm talking about, and feel free to comment below if you would agree with me. I certainly appreciate comments. I enjoy talking with you all, and I'm going to end this video now. And I know it was a short testimony, but I just want to give you, just a little bit of insight each time that I come on. And then, like I said, I want to talk a little bit next time when I get on about just share with you and express to you and get feedback from you as well. It's important to see how you're all doing out there as far as emotionally and your ups, your downs, and maybe how we can all work together to kind of on the channel here to talk through it and see what else other people are experiencing as well, other brothers and sisters, because there's no doubt it's not isolated to one person, you, me, or anyone else. It's a look at the YouTube. YouTube is blown up with videos of people that are going through all kinds of stuff and experiencing all kinds of stuff. I see videos where people are up, they're down, they're up, they're down. They don't know which end is up and down, and it's because it's difficult. This is not easy. God never said it was going to be easy. But one thing is sure at the very end, and this is part of one of my videos that I had on the anxiety and that I experienced a few years, 3 years back, was that if I'm to be taken from this earth, then it's a win. If I'm to be made whole on this earth and stay here for a little while longer and to tell others about the gospel, then it's a win. So there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear at all. So we just carry on. And so that's it for today. And I will do my very best next chance I get to come back on. Hopefully it's definitely within, I'm thinking over the weekend probably. If I get some time, I'll get another video up. And feel free, like I said, make a comment. Send me emails. That's fine too. I love to chat that way. And then if some of you really have something you want to share with me, certainly we can, I can give you my number. You can call me. So, all right, good seeing you, and I'll see you very soon. Have a good day. Bye.